We sing hymn number 606, Our Father We Have Wandered, stanza 1. Zacchaeus was a wealthy tax collector in the town of Jericho. The name Zacchaeus means pure, but the people considered him as a sinner, for he exacted for more tax than occupying forces of Rome required. But when Jesus came to town, he changed Zacchaeus' life.
Perhaps you know me only by that silly children's song. Zacchaeus was a wee little man was he. Yes, it is true. I was vertically challenged, but in those days everyone was. No, my height, or lack of it, was not my problem. My problem was that I was a tax collector, and even more so, a particularly corrupt tax collector, which is saying something. I gouged the people, collecting taxes for the Roman Empire, and then added a nice little bonus of tax on the side, just for me. I became a wealthy man, and being a wealthy man in Jericho, especially a dishonest one, is no way to create friends and influence people. People hated me, and I can see now that they had every right to do so. But strangely enough, Jesus didn't hate me. No, indeed, quite the opposite, in fact. His acceptance of me shocked me, too. This is how it happened. Jesus was coming to town. Posters were up everywhere. "Come see the holy man," proclaimed these posters. They were printed on walls, trees, and wells. "Come see the holy man." Well, that caught my attention, partly because I figured somehow I could make some money out of it. Some kind of toll, perhaps. So I scurried on down to the main road that passed right through the middle of town. I could have climbed up on top of my tax booth, but I was running late and the crowd was enormous. So I scrambled atop a sturdy sycamore tree that stood nearby. There was no way for me to see Jesus otherwise. Even on tiptoe, I could not glimpse the top of his head. So I cut quite a figure. A little man perched on a limb like a hawk. And then here he came. A rather nondescript man, nothing about his features that would make you think he was holy, until, that is, he looked at me and spoke. Somehow he knew my name. "Zacchaeus," he called out. "Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today." I thought he was kidding at first. Me? You're coming to stay with me? A corrupt tax collector? Seriously? And then I felt awful. For looking at his face, I knew then that he was pure forgiveness, dressed up in body and bone. Pure love would be another way of saying it. I suddenly felt awful for what I had done. Suppose when one comes face to face with undeserved love, you suddenly begin to see how just unworthy you are. But it didn't matter to Jesus how unworthy I was. He loved me anyway. So sure enough, he stayed at my house that day, and I was so overwhelmed that I told him that I would give half of my wealth to the poor, and those who I had overcharged on their taxes, I would give them back 4 times as much. That's what I did, and that's what I told him.